You are correct in stating that you can assemble your own electrical whip as long as all the individual components used in the assembly are appropriately listed. This means that the flexible conduit, connectors, and conductors themselves must all carry a listing mark from a recognized testing laboratory. This listing ensures that each component meets specific safety and performance standards. The best practice for labeling a power distribution unit, or PDU, involves employing a durable, permanent label that includes a comprehensive set of information. Firstly, the PDU manufacturer and the specific model number should be clearly indicated, facilitating easy identification and reference to technical specifications. Secondly, the voltage and amperage rating of the PDU is critical for understanding its power capacity and ensuring proper load balancing. Thirdly, detail the PDU outlet configuration. This involves specifying the number of outlets, their types, such as National Electrical Manufacturers Association or NEMA configurations, and their individual amperage ratings. Fourthly, document the physical location of the PDU within the facility. This can be a specific room number, rack location, or a detailed description of its placement. Fifthly, record the date of installation. This information can be useful for tracking the PDU service life and scheduling preventative maintenance. Maintaining a detailed record of all assembled and installed whips is also highly recommended, especially in critical environments. This record should include several key pieces of information. Firstly, the precise length of the whip, which is important for voltage drop calculations and ensuring proper fit. Secondly, specify the connector types used at each end of the whip. This includes the manufacturer and pot number for each connector. Thirdly, clearly indicate the wire gauge used within the whip, which is crucial for determining its current carrying capacity and ensuring compliance with electrical codes like the National Electrical Code, or NEC. Fourthly, specify the type of Seal-Tite flexible conduit used, including its material, trade size, and any relevant listing information. Fifthly, note the date of the whip assembly, which can be helpful for tracking its age and scheduling inspections. Sixthly, identify the person who assembled the whip, providing accountability and a point of contact for any questions or concerns. While there isn't one single universally mandated standard for labeling PDU and whips, the elements listed above represent commonly accepted and highly recommended practices within the electrical industry. These practices are particularly crucial in critical environments where equipment failure or misidentification can have significant consequences. In such environments, it's paramount to ensure that all PDU and whips are accurately labeled and thoroughly documented. Proper labeling and documentation are not just about compliance, they are about safety and efficiency. They enable quick identification of equipment, prevent accidental overloading, and facilitate troubleshooting in the event of a problem. When selecting labeling materials, opt for labels that are resistant to moisture, chemicals, and abrasion. Consider using a label printer that produces durable, weather-resistant labels. Ensure that the labels are securely attached to the PDU and whips, and that the information is clearly legible. The NEC provides guidance on ampacity, which is the current carrying capacity of conductors. Section 310.15 and associated tables, such as Table 310.16, are crucial for determining the allowable ampacity of conductors based on their size, insulation type, and insulation conditions. These tables also provide correction factors for ambient temperature and the number of conductors in a raceway, which must be applied to ensure that the conductors are not overloaded. The NEC also addresses the requirements for flexible cords and cables in Article 400. This article specifies the types of flexible cords and cables that are permitted for different applications, as well as the allowable uses and restrictions. It's important to select flexible cords and cables that are suitable for the intended environment and application. Article 350 of the NEC covers flexible metal conduit, or FMC, and liquid-type flexible metal conduit, or LFMC, often referred to as Seal-Tite. This article specifies the allowable uses, installation requirements, and grounding requirements for these types of conduits. It's important to ensure that the flexible conduit is properly installed and supported, and that all fittings are properly tightened to maintain a secure connection. Grounding is a critical aspect of electrical safety. Article 250 of the NEC provides comprehensive requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems and equipment. Proper grounding ensures that fault currents can safely return to the source, minimizing the risk of electric shock and fire. All metal enclosures, including PDU and flexible conduits, must be properly grounded. In addition to the NEC, other standards and guidelines may apply depending on the specific application and location. These may include standards from organizations such as the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers or IEE and the National Fire Protection Association or NFPA. It's important to be aware of all applicable requirements and to ensure that the electrical installation complies with all relevant codes and standards. When assembling Seal-Tite whips, it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for the connectors and flexible conduit. Use the correct tools and techniques to ensure a secure and reliable connection. Avoid over-tightening the connectors, as this can damage the conduit and compromise the seal. Inspect the assembled whip carefully before installation to ensure that there are no defects or damage. When installing PDU, be sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions for mounting and wiring. Ensure that the PDU is properly grounded and that all connections are tight. Avoid overloading the PDU and monitor the load regularly to ensure that it remains within the rated capacity. Regularly inspect PDU and whips for signs of wear, damage, or overheating. Check for loose connections, frayed wires, and damaged conduit. Replace any components that are found to be defective. Keep the area around PDU and whips clean and free of obstructions. Avoid storing flammable materials near electrical equipment. Provide adequate ventilation to prevent overheating. It's also advisable to implement a formal training program for personnel who are responsible for assembling, installing, and maintaining electrical equipment. This training should cover topics such as electrical safety, NEC requirements, proper wiring techniques, and troubleshooting procedures. By following these best practices, you can help to ensure the safety and reliability of electrical systems in critical environments. In summary, remember to use listed components when assembling Seal-Tite whips. Label PDU clearly with manufacturer, model, voltage, amperage, outlet configuration, location, and installation date. Maintain detailed records of all assembled whips. Adhere to the NEC and other relevant standards. Regularly inspect and maintain electrical equipment, and provide adequate training for personnel. In addition to the above points, consider the following aspects for enhancing PDU labeling and whip management. Firstly, incorporate QR codes on PDU labels. By including a QR code that links to a digital record containing detailed information about the PDU, you can streamline access to specifications, maintenance logs, and other relevant data. This is especially useful for large data centers where quick access to information is crucial. Secondly, implement a color coding system for whips. Using different colored Seal-Tite or colored labels on whips can visually indicate the voltage level, phase, or function of the connected equipment. This allows for quick identification and reduces the risk of errors during maintenance or troubleshooting. Thirdly, utilize cable management accessories. Proper cable management is essential for maintaining a clean and organized electrical system. Use cable ties, sleeves, and trays to keep whips neatly bundled and routed. This not only improves the appearance of the installation, but also reduces the risk of damage to the cables. Fourthly, consider using a digital asset management system. For large facilities, a digital asset management system can be used to track the location, status, and maintenance history of all PDU and whips. This system can provide real-time visibility into the electrical infrastructure and help to optimize resource allocation. Fifthly, conduct regular thermal scans. Thermal imaging can be used to detect hotspots in PDU and whips, which can indicate loose connections, overloaded circuits, or other potential problems. Regular thermal scans can help to identify and address these issues before they lead to equipment failure. Sixthly, implement a lockout-tagout procedure. When performing maintenance on PDU or whips, it's essential to follow a strict lockout-tagout procedure to ensure that the equipment is de-energized and safe to work on. This procedure should involve physically disconnecting the power source and attaching a lock and tag to prevent accidental re-energization. Seventhly, maintain up-to-date electrical drawings. Accurate and up-to-date electrical drawings are essential for understanding the layout of the electrical system and for troubleshooting problems. These drawings should be reviewed and updated whenever changes are made to the electrical infrastructure. Eighthly, conduct periodic load balancing audits. Regularly assess the load on each PDU to ensure that it is evenly distributed and within the rated capacity. Imbalances in load can lead to overheating and equipment failure. Ninthly, establish a preventative maintenance schedule. A well-defined preventative maintenance schedule can help to extend the life of PDU and whips and to prevent unexpected downtime. This schedule should include regular inspections, cleaning, and testing. Tenthly, document all changes and modifications. Any changes or modifications to the electrical system, including the installation or replacement of PDU and whips, should be documented in detail. This documentation should include the date of the change, the person who performed the work, and any relevant specifications or drawings. By implementing these additional measures, you can further enhance the safety, reliability, and efficiency of your electrical system. Remember that electrical safety is paramount, and that all work should be performed by qualified personnel in accordance with applicable codes and standards. Remember that electrical codes and standards are constantly evolving. Stay updated on the latest revisions and interpretations of the NEC and other relevant standards to ensure that your electrical installations are compliant and safe. Consult with a qualified electrical engineer or inspector if you have any questions or concerns about electrical safety.